to the entertainer talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the news that came out yesterday about Jadaveon Clowney dropping his price tag. In addition to that, I'm going to talk about an article that was written by Jordan Raanan of ESPN, basically saying that, from what he's heard through the grapevine, that Markus Golden's price tag is a lot less than initially thought it would be. The same for Jadaveon Clowney, but he still feels that the New York Giants will not be in on Markus Golden. We'll have to wait and see. Golden, for the right price, I've said, I'd be open to bringing him back at this point. I am not his biggest fan. I think he's a high-effort player, not the most technically skilled player, but he's definitely a high-effort player and a guy that was very successful here with the New York Giants. But I've said it since like week 10 last year. I think the biggest reason for his success was the James Bettcher scheme, which is the reason we brought him in here in the first place. And I think teams realize that, which is why people aren't knocking down his door, and it's why he's still a free agent. Of course, he's also 29 years old, and he's had some injury history in the past, so I don't expect him to get a long-term contract. But Golden, I think, knows that, and he knows that he runs a health risk, and he's trying to get a multi-year deal. The question is, will any team be willing to give it to him? And for the reported price tag that Raanan thinks that Golden may go for, he may be worth a shot in the dark, but Raanan does not think the New York Giants will be willing to extend him the offer. We'll have to wait and see. As far as Clowney goes, we'll get into the exact price tag in a second, and then I'll give my opinion on that. Here is the quote that came out about Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney, of course, like I've said, originally wanted around $22 to $23 million. That then came down to 20. Well, now it's come down even further due to lack of interest from outside teams. Clowney is now seeking a number closer to 17 to 18 million. And the Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans remain interested in signing the three-time Pro Bowler selection, sources told ESPN. I also read an article from the Post that the Jets are monitoring him along with potentially the New York Giants. The Giants do not seem to be one of the favorites. Of course, the Giants cleared up some more cap space for this year's team, but I still think it will be used for in-season moves and potential extensions in the year. That's my guess. The only way I could see us bringing in Clowney is what I said about 5 or 6 days ago, if they rescind the tag on Leonard Williams. Then I would view Clowney as a possibility. But being that they only have between $18 to $20 million based on what site you look at, I don't see them using all of it on Jadeveon Clowney and not using any, flexibility for in-season moves. Of course, they could restructure contracts and create a little bit of cap space that way. Is it impossible we bring in Clowney? No. If it drops a little more, maybe the Giants show some more interest, but I don't see it really happening. The next thing we're going to talk about is Markus Golden, the former New York Giant. Previously, ESPN's Josina Anderson reported that outside linebacker Markus Golden has interest in returning to the Giants, but will also endeavor to test free agency. A source also told Raanan that $10 million is gone. Don't think he's getting $8 million, but that won't be far off. Golden racked up 10 sacks in his bounce-back 2019 campaign, but ultimately graded out as PFF's number 88 overall edge defender among 124 qualified players. The reason for that is because we all know he's not the strongest run defender. I think that's why his grade was that, much lower. Although it might not include the type of money he was hoping for. So there's the quote about Markus Golden. And then finally, Raanan went on later to say the types of prospects he could see the Giants bringing in. And I agree with this mindset. If they're going to bring in another edge rusher, I think it'll be somebody very cost-effective, like the names that he mentions. The Giants are more likely to add a lower-priced veteran later on. Some of the more reasonable options still available are Cameron Wake, Jamal Sheard, and Vinny Curry. Sheard, of course, has played with the New England Patriots, has a connection there with Joe Judge. Cameron Wake is very old. He'd probably be very cost-effective. Golden outproduced all those players last season, but he falls into the category of good enough to start, but not good enough to pay. And my honest opinion on this is, if you get him for $8 million on a one-year deal, for that price, I don't see any harm in bringing back Markus Golden as long as it doesn't tear into your cap for in-season moves. I completely understand why Gettleman wants to have some money set aside. Does he need $18 million? I don't know about that. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. I do not expect Clowney to be a New York Giant, even if that price tag comes down to $15 or $16 million. I could be wrong, but I have not seen any rumors linking Clowney to the New York Giants. Of course, as free agency started, the Giants seemed very interested, and Clowney reportedly seemed interested in the Giants. But I think, as it has come out now, I think Clowney was interested in anybody that was desperate enough to give him $20 to $22 million, and being that he's now lowered his price tag to $17 or $18 million, it's clearly obvious that nobody was willing to pay him what he initially desired. And the Giants didn't bite the bullet. They weren't willing to overpay for an edge rusher. But now that that price has come down on a potential one-year deal, he's obviously a lot more attractive. But like I said, in the beginning of this video, I don't even see the Giants entertaining that unless they were to rescind the tag on Williams. And to be honest with you, Gettleman traded for Williams. I don't think he's going to rescind the tag. I'm not saying that might not be the right decision, but I don't see it happening. If the Giants are going to bring in anybody else as an edge rusher or anywhere else, I think it'll be a very, cost-effective move. Maybe Golden on a $7 or $8 million contract could make sense, though. I wouldn't be opposed to that. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.